Relationships are built on trust, respect, and the courage to be vulnerable with one another. But when betrayal enters, it cuts deeper than almost any wound. Not every mistake is unforgivable, but some betrayals reveal patterns, intentions, and character flaws that should never be overlooked. Forgiving them may sound noble, but forgetting them and allowing them again will destroy your worth, your peace, and your identity. Today, I want to share with you 5 betrayals in relationships you should never forgive, and 3 deeper principles to help you rise stronger, wiser, and more courageous. Trust is not just an element of a relationship. It is the very soil where love grows. Without trust, even the strongest looking bond begins to wither. A lie may seem small at first, something that can be brushed aside in the name of peace or forgiveness. But when lies become a pattern, they are no longer accidents, they are a lifestyle. And when someone chooses a lifestyle of lies, they are choosing control over honesty, secrecy over transparency, and selfishness over love. Lies corrode intimacy in ways words can hardly capture. Each lie is like a hidden crack in the foundation of a house. One day you wake up and realize the entire structure is collapsing, not because of one massive blow, but because of 1,000 tiny fractures you ignored. That is the quiet destruction of repeated dishonesty. And here's the danger. Lies don't just distort facts, they distort your sense of reality. When someone lies to you over and over, they train you to question your instincts, to doubt your own memory, and to second guess your perception. That is not just betrayal, it is psychological damage. Love is not about perfection, but it is about truth. When someone continually lies, what they are saying is, "You are not worthy of my honesty. I prefer the comfort of deceit to the courage of truth." That is not love. That is betrayal dressed in sweet words. And let's be clear, forgiveness does not mean tolerance. You can forgive someone once, twice, maybe even 3 times if they are showing genuine change. But when deceit becomes a pattern, you must draw a line. Because forgiving repeated lies does not make you noble. It makes you vulnerable to deeper wounds. If they lie about where they are, they will lie about who they are with. If they lie about small things, they will lie about the things that matter most. A person who refuses to live in truth cannot build a future with you because the future requires trust. Never forgive the betrayal of repeated lies, not because you are bitter, but because your heart deserves honesty, your soul deserves clarity, and your love deserves a foundation strong enough to carry it. Loyalty is the sacred promise that 2 people give each other when they step into a relationship. It is not just about physical faithfulness. It is about emotional devotion, spiritual connection, and the willingness to put the relationship above selfish desires. Loyalty says, "I choose you not just today, but every day. I honor you not just in private, but in public. I protect what we have even when temptation whispers at my door." But when cheating enters, it is not simply a mistake. It is a deliberate act of betrayal. Cheating says, "My desire is greater than my respect for you. My impulses are stronger than my commitment to us. My pleasure matters more than your trust." That is why infidelity shatters hearts so deeply. It is not about the physical act alone. It is about the message it sends. It tells you that you were not enough, not because you lacked something, but because the other person lacked integrity. Cheating humiliates. It takes what was sacred between 2 people and turns it into a playground for secrets and lies. And when the truth comes out, it doesn't just break the bond, it breaks your sense of safety. Because in relationships, safety is not just about protection from the world. It is about protection from betrayal by the one you trusted most. Some will say, but people make mistakes. Shouldn't love forgive? And yes, love can forgive, but forgiveness does not mean you must return to the same broken pattern. Forgiveness is for your peace, but trust is earned, and once shattered, it is rarely ever rebuilt to its full strength. To forgive betrayal without change is to give someone permission to betray you again. Think about it. If someone steals from you once and shows remorse, you may forgive. But if they steal again and again and again, would you still hand them the keys to your house? Of course not. Yet many do this with their hearts, allowing unfaithful partners to keep re-entering the sacred space of love, hoping it will be different next time. But loyalty once broken is rarely fully repaired because loyalty is not words. It is proven through consistent action. Here is the harsh truth. A partner who cheats is not just betraying you, they are betraying the very essence of commitment. And if they do it once and get away with it, the likelihood is they will do it again. Because a person who cheats without transforming does not see loyalty as sacred. They see it as optional. Never forgive this betrayal lightly. Never minimize its impact. Because the moment you excuse repeated infidelity, you send a message that your dignity can be negotiated, that your worth can be compromised, and that your love can be played with. And that is not the kind of message you want to send. You are not asking for perfection, but you must demand loyalty. Because love without loyalty is not love, it is convenience. And a relationship without loyalty is not a partnership, it is a performance. Never forgive the betrayal of cheating, not because you are heartless, but because your heart deserves better. Every healthy relationship should be a place where you feel safe, not just physically, but emotionally. Love is supposed to be a sanctuary where you can be vulnerable, open, and unguarded. But when manipulation enters the picture, that sanctuary becomes a prison. Emotional manipulation is one of the most poisonous betrayals because it doesn't strike all at once. It's subtle, quiet, and often invisible to the person experiencing it. It begins with small twists of words, little games of guilt, and carefully planted doubts. Over time, it makes you question your own judgment, your memory, and even your sanity. This is what we call gaslighting. The tactic of making you believe the problem is not their actions, but your perception of reality. And this is why it cuts so deep. Manipulation is not just lying to you, it's reshaping your confidence in yourself. A manipulator will make you apologize when you were the one who was wronged. They will flip the script so you end up defending them while quietly eroding your own sense of worth. That is not love. That is power disguised as intimacy. True love does not need manipulation. It does not require guilt-tripping, silent treatments, or emotional blackmail. Real love thrives in honesty, clarity, and freedom. But when manipulation becomes the pattern, your relationship is no longer about connection. It is about control, and control is the enemy of love. Here's the painful truth. Once manipulation becomes a tool in a relationship, trust and safety cannot exist. Because safety means you can speak your truth without fear. Safety means you can say no without being punished. Safety means your emotions are honored, not twisted against you. If someone betrays your emotional safety through manipulation, do not excuse it. Do not forgive it in silence, because every time you tolerate manipulation, you give away a little more of your voice, your peace, and your power. And before long, you wake up and realize you are living in a relationship where you are no longer yourself. This is why emotional betrayal is so dangerous. It steals your identity. It convinces you to shrink so the other person can shine. It teaches you to walk on eggshells, to filter your words, to suppress your feelings, all to keep peace that never truly exists. Never forgive manipulation, not because you are unwilling to be gracious, but because manipulation is not a mistake, it is a strategy. And someone who chooses manipulation is showing you that they value control more than connection. Your heart deserves honesty, your emotions deserve respect, and your soul deserves freedom. If love does not give you these, then it is not love, it is betrayal. Respect is the heartbeat of every healthy relationship. You can have passion, attraction, even years of history together, but without respect, love cannot survive. Respect is what makes two people treat each other as equals, not competitors. Respect is what gives love dignity. When someone humiliates you in public, it is more than just a careless moment. It is a deliberate act of betrayal. Public humiliation says, I value my pride, my ego, or my entertainment more than I value your dignity. And dignity is not optional in love. It is essential. Think about how deep this wound goes. When the person you trust most makes you the object of mockery in front of others, they don't just wound your heart, they wound your identity. Instead of protecting you, they expose you. Instead of covering your weaknesses, they highlight them. Instead of standing with you, they stand against you for an audience to see. That is betrayal at its core. Some people will excuse it with laughter. Oh, I was just joking, you're too sensitive. But jokes that cut your soul are not humor. They are daggers wrapped in sarcasm. When someone repeatedly mocks you, shames you, or degrades you in front of others, they are sending a message. Your feelings don't matter. My pride is more important than your heart. True love never embarrasses. It never exposes wounds to the public. It never uses private struggles as punchlines for others' amusement. Love protects. Love covers. Love defends. And let's be clear, humiliation is not just about words. It can be gestures, tones, rolling of eyes, or dismissing your contributions in front of family, friends, or colleagues. Every time it happens, it chips away at your sense of worth. And if you allow it to continue, you start believing you deserve it, but you don't. Respect in private is important, but respect in public is proof, because the way someone treats you when others are watching reveals what they truly believe about you. If they honor you in front of others, it shows loyalty. If they humiliate you, it shows betrayal. Never forgive this betrayal lightly, because once someone learns they can publicly shame you without consequence, they will continue. And each time, the humiliation will cut deeper. Forgiveness without boundaries here only invites repeated disrespect. Your dignity is not negotiable. Your worth is not a joke. Your presence is not a stage for someone else's ego. You deserve a love that honors you in every room, in every setting, with every word. Never forgive the betrayal of public humiliation, not because you are unforgiving, but because your soul cannot thrive in a love that laughs at your expense. Commitment in a relationship is more than a promise. It is a covenant of presence. It says, I will walk with you not only in the sunshine, but also in the storm. I will be here when it is easy, and I will still be here when it is hard. That is the essence of love: consistency, reliability, and presence. But abandonment is the betrayal of this covenant. It is not always about someone leaving physically. It is about leaving emotionally, spiritually, or relationally when you need them most. Abandonment says, your struggle is inconvenient for me, your pain is too heavy for me, your needs don't matter enough for me to stay. And that cuts deeper than almost any other betrayal, because it happens in the moments when you are most vulnerable. Imagine standing in the middle of your darkest season: loss, sickness, financial struggle, or emotional breakdown, and the person who once promised to hold your hand turns their back. That abandonment doesn't just break your heart, it shakes your faith in people. Because when anyone who vowed commitment leaves you in the storm, it makes you question whether anyone can truly be trusted. This betrayal is especially cruel because abandonment often disguises itself as indifference. They may say, you're strong, you'll figure it out, you don't need me right now. But what they are really saying is, I don't value your struggle enough to stand beside you. Love that walks away in crisis is not love. It is convenience wearing a mask. And here's the painful truth. People who abandon you in hard times often try to return when things get better. They want to celebrate your victory without having carried any of your burden. But commitment is not proven in good times. It is tested in the valley. If they cannot hold your hand in the valley, they do not deserve a place on your mountaintop. Abandonment is a betrayal you should never forgive lightly, because the person who leaves you once when life gets heavy is likely to do it again. And every time the wound cuts deeper, leaving you lonelier, weaker, and more doubtful of your worth. Your heart deserves someone who stays, someone who shows up when you're broken, someone who doesn't need to understand every detail to still say, I'm here, you are not alone. That is real love. That is real commitment. Never forgive the betrayal of abandonment, not because you are bitter, but because your soul deserves consistency, your spirit deserves partnership, and your heart deserves the kind of love that shows up even when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, and costly. Sometimes the hardest truth to face is this: not all betrayals come from others. Some come from ourselves. When we continually allow repeated lies, infidelity, disrespect, or abandonment, we are no longer just victims of betrayal. We become participants in betraying our own worth. Every time you ignore the red flags, every time you silence your instincts, every time you excuse behavior that dishonors you, you are telling yourself a dangerous lie: I don't deserve better. That is the betrayal of self-worth. It is subtle, but it is one of the most destructive betrayals of all. Think about it. If you place a diamond in the hands of someone who treats it like a pebble, the problem is not the diamond's value, it's the hand that refuses to recognize it. And if the diamond keeps returning to the same careless hands, eventually it will be chipped, scratched, and damaged. Many people are like that diamond, precious, valuable, but staying in the hands of someone who mishandles them because they don't believe they deserve more. When you allow betrayal, you are teaching people how to treat you. Silence becomes permission. Forgiveness without accountability becomes a green light for repeated harm. And tolerance of disrespect becomes an unspoken agreement. You can keep wounding me, and I will keep staying. But here is the truth you must carry. Your worth is not negotiable. Your dignity is not up for debate. And your heart is not a playground for someone else's immaturity. The greatest betrayal you could ever commit against yourself is to stay in a place that keeps breaking you just because you are afraid to walk away. Loyalty to someone else should never cost you loyalty to yourself. You can be compassionate without being a doormat. You can be forgiving without being blind. You can be patient without being abused. So never forgive the betrayal you commit against your own worth. Stand up, speak up, walk away if you must, because the moment you choose yourself, you send a message not just to others, but to your own soul. I am worthy, I am valuable, and I will not betray myself again. When betrayal cuts deep, the first instinct is often to harden your heart, to say, I'll never trust again, I'll never open up again, I'll never love again. That is the voice of bitterness speaking, and while it may feel protective, it is really a prison. Bitterness does not heal you. It keeps you chained to the wound. It ties you to the very person who hurt you, because you spend your energy replaying the betrayal over and over in your mind. True healing does not come from bitterness, it comes from boundaries. A boundary is not a wall to keep love out, it is a gate to keep betrayal from re-entering. Boundaries are not about punishment, they are about protection. They say, I can forgive you, but I will not give you the same access to hurt me again. Forgiveness is for your heart, but boundaries are for your future. You can forgive someone for lying, but your boundary may be never giving them the same level of trust again. You can forgive someone for cheating, but your boundary may be to walk away from the relationship altogether. You can forgive someone for humiliating you, but your boundary may be no longer allowing them to speak into your life. Boundaries are not cruel, they are courageous. They are the way you say to yourself, my peace matters, my dignity matters, my soul matters. And until you build them, healing will remain incomplete, because healing without boundaries leaves the wound open for infection. The difference is this: bitterness shuts your heart, boundaries guard your heart. Bitterness says, everyone will hurt me, so I'll close myself off. Boundaries say, I will love again, but I will not allow the same betrayal twice. When you choose boundaries over bitterness, you give yourself the gift of freedom. Freedom to trust again, freedom to hope again, and freedom to love again without fear of repeating the same cycle. So hear this clearly. Never forgive betrayal without establishing boundaries. Because without boundaries, forgiveness is incomplete. And with boundaries, forgiveness becomes a stepping stone to a stronger, wiser, and more powerful version of you. The ultimate truth about love is this: it should never require you to lose who you are. Love at its best is not about erasing yourself for another person. It is about becoming more fully yourself alongside someone who celebrates you. But when betrayal is tolerated, love begins to demand sacrifices it was never meant to require. If being in a relationship means you must silence your voice, hide your dreams, or carry pain in silence just to keep the peace, then what you have is not love, it is control. If loving someone requires you to give up your dignity, your joy, or your identity, then you are no longer in a partnership, you are in bondage. Real love should not shrink you, it should stretch you, it should not break you, it should build you. It should not strip you of confidence, it should strengthen it. And if you ever find yourself in a relationship where you have to betray yourself to keep the connection alive, you must ask, is this really love or is it fear of being alone? Too many people stay in relationships where they slowly disappear, they laugh less, dream less, smile less, all because they've convinced themselves that losing themselves is the price of keeping love. But that is not love, that is betrayal in disguise. Here's the truth.